Hey outside world, second try to do this. Hopefully there won't be kitten in the way this time. Camera's 5+ feet off the floor, but he's thorough when he wants to cause trouble. So, haven't done a Nerd Words video in a while. Wanted to talk about some nerdy stuff. Not really sure what is on the communal nerd mind these days because I am completely out of the loop. I don't know a thing unless I happen to randomly come across it. I feel like I need to turn in my gold nerd card, downgrade to a regular nerd card. Did watch Phantom Menace again. No, it wasn't Phantom Menace. Force Awakens. I've seen Phantom Menace approximately once, and that was enough. Watched Force Awakens again with a friend of mine who I grew up with. Spent a lot of time pausing and speculating and talking and had a good old time. Really don't know. And there were some sticking points like why R2D2 woke up and what that meant that we couldn't resolve. Things like Rey's parentage that we had nothing new to offer, but it's fun to nerd out and speculate and go back and forth. There was the whole, it was going to be just like Jason and Jaina from the expanded universe, but then there's so little anyone knew Rey. You'd think there'd be some recognition, so she probably can't be theirs, and back and forth, and I have no answers. Have been more involved with superhero movies. Saw Superman versus Batman while on vacation. It was a movie. There were superheroes. There were a couple cool moments. There was too much inexplicable superhero battle. I felt they did a poor job in why anyone was acting like they did. There's a line in the Suicide Squad commercials about what if Superman came down and plucked the president, ripped the roof off the White House and plucked out the president, blah, blah, blah. That went further than anything in Batman versus Superman of laying out why people might be scared of this guy. And I don't know why it didn't work for me. I don't know if the battle scene was too much of Batfleck racing around in his carefully product placed Jeep, because I gotta say, I drive a Jeep and 0 to 60 takes about a month and a half, so whatever that product placement was, I'm not really sold on it, even though I like my car. The phrase I wanted was poorly motivated superhero battle, because that's what comics are made of. Misunderstandings that lead to A versus B. Fanboys get to argue over who's their favorite. The answer in this case was C, because Wonder Woman was a pleasing addition to the movie. I felt the actress really did come across well in that role. I know there was controversy before about how she looked and if she looked the role and if she looked athletic enough or not, or blah blah blah. Anyway, she looked the part as far as I'm concerned. She played it well. Batfleck just, I can't get over that there were things the super detective could have done to try to hash out what was going on more than just put on a big metal suit and fight it out. Kind of the same way with, small spoiler, when Lois is held hostage and Superman has to fight to save her. I felt there were ways that Superman should have communicated to Bruce what was going on, but then if people acted in rational ways, there'd be very little movie to talk about. Also saw Civil War this week. Captain America 3, Marvel Civil War, Agents of Destruction, whatever the subtitle was, I don't remember it all. Good movie. I have friends that went and saw it that raved about it. I tried not to get my expectations too high, which was good because we had a cold crowd in our theater. Well, we had a warm crowd because all the people behind us did was complain about how warm they were, as if the rest of us were going to do anything about how warm they were. They already talked to the theater police about getting it cooled, but anyway, they love to complain. Civil War, good movie. I enjoyed it. Was there an aspect of why don't we just talk about this and resolve it? Yes. Am I willing to cut them more slack than I am DC? Yes. Marvel has a better track record. They have more enjoyment in their movies. If there's things to laugh at and things to enjoy, things that break the mood a little and it's not just dour, it makes it easier for me to cut them some slack. makes suspension of disbelief easier for me. But that's also a personal preference, in that I'm just not a big fan of the dark movies. Personal preference, but I enjoyed it. I felt there were some good things they were moving towards, with Tony looking like he wants out of the business, with Vision and Scarlet Witch teasing potential romance angle, which was hard to explain to my wife, who's a casual fan, what was going on there. Overall, decent flick, enjoyed it, felt it really moved the Marvel Cinematic Universe forward. Spider-Man alone, bringing him in, really going back to the old school, wisecracking teenage chatterbox. Thought the actor did really good. I know a lot of people don't like that it's been rebooted so many times, but I like this guy. I think there's potential for what they're going to do. Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman's just really awesome, but that character had motivations for why he acted like he did, and it came across well. He played the grieving son quite well, and the noble king, and I'm looking forward to his future adventures. One thing that does come to mind, though, is I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. regularly since it started, and now, of course, if you're caught up, you'll know that one of the agents has been turned to the dark side by a former ally who's now a foe, or blah blah. Enjoyable fluff still. It has that, I don't cut it as much slack as I do the Marvel movies, but it's still watchable. Scale is what I'm seeing as the problem with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In comics, it's very routine for someone to die and undie and die and come back as a woman, then come back as a man, then they're a dog, but they're secretly wearing a mask and they're Magneto, and on and on. That over-the-top storytelling, the layers and layers of continuity that sometimes make comics harder to get into for newbies. MCU is starting to run into an issue where there's only so many times you can have a character flip-flop before the average viewer loses interest. Again, my opinion, it's my channel, I can have opinions. I'm not saying, like the critics that love to say, oh, this is the Marvel movie that will fail every time there's a new one out, because they just can't wait to be proven right about that. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s never been, it's a lost leader. It gets the name and the characters out there, but it's not mainstream. The movies are still doing good. The show is tolerably good, but the issue is she's Daisy, she's Sky, she's good, she's bad, she's good, she's bad. Comic fans that are used to that kind of storytelling, I think, are going to have a different approach to it than the casual fan who comes and goes. Overall, I watched some superhero stuff. DC still keeps missing. There were some things I liked. The little snippets of the rest of the Justice League I thought were a great tease. Marvel movie, however, just had more layers to it. Came off as a better complete package, more believable characterization and motivation, which when you're there to see guys in tights hit each other, I can understand that may not be what you want, but for a compelling movie franchise, I think it's what you need to keep doing. The spectacle of the superhero genre is starting to fade a little. There's more common knowledge about who they are and what they do, and the product needs to be able to stand on its own. So, there's some nerd words. I hope everyone's having a good day. I look forward to what you think about the Marvel and the DC movies and what's coming next. Thanks, everyone.